air.
It's, it says
Yeah, no.
live.
Oh, there it goes. There it is. Yay. Okay.
Okay. Woohoo. Okay. So it says to give a quick synopsis of the case. So I enjoyed reading about this case just because it had so many different factors. But overall, I think they're a really awesome company. They have a lot of things to train people, to mentor people, and most importantly, to help people grow within the company, which I thought was amazing. And then towards the end, it talks about how they're debating of what to do with the 7-day countdown, if it was something that was possible, if it made sense, if they should go forward with doing that. And that's pretty much the gist of it. I don't know if you guys want to add something to that.
So the one thing that I gathered from it was that McBride is the general manager of Ritz Carlton, in charge of the 7-day countdown of opening the actual hotel. And then the other person, I think his name is Collins, he's the managing partner of Millennium Partners, and they're the company that builds the facilities. So Collins is the one that wants to try and see if they can make a tweak to the 7-day countdown, because he's wanting them to generate revenue sooner than it would take if they just, it says that he wants them to get to 80% occupancy quicker. And he thinks if they do something different than the 7-day countdown, they might be able to do that. So that's what I gathered as the main issue was.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think are the issues for this case study in particular?
Well, they really went into a lot of depth of what that 7 days involved. As far as the first 2 days involved the prep rally and getting ready, getting the line, I think it was the line service ready. And then going in group exercises and orientation. That was their main things the first couple days. And then the remaining days were all on the training, the actual training of the employees. And getting them prepared and ready for their opening day. And I thought it was pretty cool that then the day before their opening, they just went in regular clothes and just sort of did like another pep rally, I guess it was. But they were extensive 7 days. They were full 8 hours training days.
Katie, did you have anything to add?
I'm trying to find something I read and I'm not sure where it was now. But no, just basically what they were saying is it was kind of a lot of information, so it was kind of a little harder for me to kind of process this one, especially because I kind of got confused between all the different, like, which company was which. So just in like the first 2 or 3 pages, I was like, okay, so there's the Ritz, and then there's the Ritz Carlton, and then that was owned by something with an M.
Millennium.
Yeah.
I think there's even another one. I don't know. And so I was kind of getting a little confused with this one. I'm not gonna lie. And so, but yeah, hopefully I'll get my thoughts a little more together. But just
So it says
there's a lot going on. So
it says one of the questions was, should he try changing the 7-day countdown process, which was a worldwide best practice for the company. So I think what they were trying to tell us was the 7-day process was something that they had tried and tested, and they had found to work very well. And it also tells us that the McBride person had been very successful in other areas of the world in opening up hotels, and that he used the same process. So I guess it's maybe total quality management, if that's the word that they used in the case study. Like if you have a process that's working and it gives you a certain result, at what point do you try and change it or tweak it to see if you can get better results? Mm-hmm. Like, do you do it during that 7-day process, or do you try and change small things? Mm-hmm. I think that's one of the issues.
I think the one thing that maybe makes them want to change it, because it sounds like this isn't the first time Millennium has really like owned a Ritz hotel. I think they said they have 6 of them. And
Yep.
so it sounded like the very first thing they start out with is that this is the first time that's not just a hotel, but it's like a whole. It kind of reminded me of the Cirque du Soleil case study we did, like our very first one, where they're like, let's open up something where it's got a hotel, it's got a spa, it's got restaurants, it's got shops, it's got everything.
Right.
Whereas they're used to like, we've got our hotel. It's really nice, but it's just the one hotel. And so I feel like that's probably why he's feeling more pressure. Like, this is kind of a bigger deal. This is a lot more that we're adding on. So it's probably why he was like, let's maybe do something a little different. And so I think that probably had a lot to do with the pressure that they were feeling.
Yeah, I think they said it had condominiums as well, like high-end condominiums that they're.
Yeah, because that's kind of Millennium's specialty, it sounds like.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, it costs a lot for training, and trying to get people there prior to it, how long of a training period would they need? You know, it sounds like they had a pretty good setup. And then, and in addition, they will be having on training each day as they go forward, which everybody has to go through that. Everybody has, when you start a new job, you do train as you go forward, and that's going to happen no matter what.
You also said too that they're like in the beginning they're like overstaffed because they want everyone's trying to learn and be able to give that quality service that the customers expect. So while they're learning, it's more of not a one-on-one like a customer employee, but there's more employees per customer in the beginning. And they also did say something about the turnover ratio too. You guys remember reading anything about that?
Didn't they have the least amount of turnover because of the way they treated their employees? Because the president and the CEO of Carlton said that respect was an important thing, and that
Right.
he respects each employee as ladies and gentlemen, and he expects the employees to respect the guests as ladies and gentlemen. I thought that was pretty cool too. That was a nice motto, nice thing to go by.
Yep. Yeah, I think for sure. Well, it says about the turnover rate, it was only 20% compared with the hotel industry, which averaged 100%,
Right.
which was
That's
a huge gap.
Yeah.
So I think that goes along with the next question. It says, define a competitive advantage. What do you guys think a competitive advantage is? And then what is Ritz's competitive advantage? So 2 parts to the question.
Well, I think a competitive advantage is basically having something that makes your business more attractive than your competitors. Something that makes customers choose you over someone else. And so, obviously the Ritz, every time you hear the Ritz, you just think, oh, that's a really nice place. And so, and it's funny because they kept talking about their main competitors as Four Seasons. And whenever I heard the name Ritz Carlton next to Four Seasons kind of sounds like one of those fancy Marriott, that was the word. It sounds like oh, it's kind of like the nice hotel chain that you go to because that's what you do. But Ritz Carlton sounds like that's the really nice high-end place to me. So I don't know if the brand name is one competitive advantage, but everything they put behind the brand name as well, their level of quality and service.
Yeah, I think they mentioned several times the different awards that they won. So I think that's one of the competitive advantages that they have. They said the Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award, that there's certain awards that they were the only hotel that was able to receive it. And I think they actually received it twice. I don't remember what the exact name of it was. But so for service, so they are able to service their customers and know what their needs are and be able to provide what it is that they're needing when they need it, unlike other hotels where they find out late what their needs are and then they try and fulfill them. These people, Ritz-Carlton is proactively trying to find out what the needs are so they can meet it right away.
I think that the manager, I forget his name, McBride, he had some
Yep.
really good ideas. Like one of his ideas was if the guests came on a more amount of times, depending on how many visits they had, they would give them a monogram pillowcase
Yeah.
and then a room that they could say is their room. And they would just check in and that would be their room. And I think that's a pretty good perk. If someone is a businessman and is coming there on a regular basis,
Right.
to feel that homey feeling, I thought that was a pretty good, a perk to give to your guests.
I also liked how they tailored the construction and like the hotel to the environment. Like it said, Washington D.C. had like Secret Service people coming in, so they had like, I don't know. I thought that was pretty interesting how they learned from other experiences and other places that you should kind of make it feel different, like part of your own hometown or whatnot. So I thought that was another thing that, because usually hotels, when I think of a hotel, it's like Katie was saying, the Marriott, I think like they just have the standard everything, standard, service, standard, like what is it called? Architectural plan, like just like, yeah, like you see one and then you kind of see all of them. So I kind of like how the Ritz just had like, depending on the needs of the location, they would tailor it to that. So I thought that was another part of the Ritz competitive advantage. So the next question is, what is the Ritz selling?
Service. Are they selling service? Well, no, they'll service for rooms.
Yeah, I would say service too. Wasn't that what they said they were selling?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they did. And that
What do
was
you
their
guys-
main thing. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, that's all. Go ahead.
Okay. So what is the essence of the Ritz-Carlton experience?
The essence. I remember reading this.
Yeah, I do too. I just know that they wanted their guests to feel welcome and to please all of their needs. And they did some really neat things for them. I can't remember all of the exact things that. Oh, there was the other one. They did if you were in one of the condominiums or in the hotel, they linked it up to a internet service called Cobalt, and you were able to order your meals and so forth through that, so that it could be delivered to you. And I thought that was pretty cool too. Not that it was delivered to you, but it was at a restaurant. You can order your meals in advance prior to going there.
They also wanted their guests to be known by they wanted them to be called by their first name, like they were actually a guest in their home. Like if you had somebody staying with you in your home, you would know what their first name is, and that's how you would talk to them. So a personalized type of interaction.
So the next question says, how does the Ritz create ladies and gentlemen in only 7 days?
That's a really good question.
That is a good question. They did
Yeah.
a lot in 7 days. They did an awful lot.
They used standardized. They standardized everything, and they had specific things that they did and taught on each day.
Yeah, it says day 1 and 2 is their orientation of the employees so that they would learn the culture. They felt that was most important, that the employees knew the culture and values of the company.
So didn't they say they treated them as if they were the guests like the first few days so that way they would get the feel of what it was like?
How about when they went in for their training session? That was so nice. They were like escorted from the metro down to the Carlton by a blue ribbon, and then they had people greeting them and giving them food.
So they were giving them the treatment that they wanted them to be able to give the customers.
Yeah.
So does that answer the question?
Yeah, it does. I just wanted to like say something else. Even like the whole interview process, they mentioned like people that didn't make the cut, they still treated them like they did.
Right.
And I really like that because it reminded me, I don't know if it's a quote or a saying, but it's like, you know the character of the person by the way they treat someone that can't do nothing for them or something like that. So it just really reminded me of like how that's like, it's not just like them pretending to be nice. It's like, it's part of who they are.
Right.
It like, they do it so much every day that it became who they are, which I loved a lot. I was actually looking for jobs for Ritz. I went on Indeed. I'm like, is Johnny hiring? Yeah, but that really caught my attention.
I also thought that too. I thought I should see if they have any positions. There's no Carlton in Pittsburgh. I looked already.
Oh man, I saw 4 seasons. So it says, how would you describe the leadership and values of the Ritz? Describe strengths and weaknesses. So I feel like we've really covered the strengths a lot, but can you guys think of any weaknesses that they had?
I would say one of the weaknesses is that they didn't do things differently. Like no one tried to go outside the box. Maybe they stayed within the the guidelines.
And didn't that Collins guy try to change some of the things? And that's when McBride said, you can change the art and the other stuff, but to change some of our procedures is like a big no-no. Or something like that. That was in my own words, but
I don't really know if he had the authority, Collins, because they were part of the company that was developing the project, not managing it. I mean, they could fire the management company if they didn't manage it the way they wanted to, but they can give suggestions. But it was the Ritz-Carlton that was in charge of the management, right? Of the facility.
Well, they were part of it because the Millennium ones were the ones that chose the main 3 leadership positions, and then the general manager, which was McBride, was able to choose staff. I had it broken down. And
right.
Then,
so Millennium chose who the people were that were going to run the thing. So why, if you're going to put your faith in the people that you hire, why are you going to tell them how to do their job, right? Don't you hire them because of their expertise and then you let them go ahead and do the job instead of micromanaging them?
Yeah. Yeah, it said McBride. Oh, McBride was a member of the executive committee, and then the executive committee were able to go for the remaining managers and staff. The Millennium did the general manager, the director of marketing, and the controller.
Sorry, I'm just reading. Can you guys think of any other weaknesses? Because for me, it was very hard to think of, like, I don't even know what I'm going to write for the case study.
Didn't he say we could focus on things that they did right, too?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, I think I'm going to write the whole thing on everything.
I know. Because I really do. The only thing I think I did think of when they said that 7-day orientation, I thought, whoa, that's a short amount of time and right before they opened. But after I read everything, I felt, it sounds like it's okay. It sounds like they.
And Millennium Partners expected them to give flawless service, and they only had 7 days of training. That was interesting. They were
Yeah, so
checking
that's
new errands.
That's actually going along with the next question. It says, should McBride lengthen the amount of time spent training? Detail why or why not.
I think
So, yeah.
seems like it worked in previous times, but like I said, this isn't just a hotel. It sounds like it's a complex that's much bigger and much more complex. Well, complex. And so I feel like just because there's such a large variety of things going on in this particular property, that he might want a longer training time, because there's the hotel, there's the condominiums, there's the restaurants, there's the spa, there's there's a sports club. Yeah, there's shops. There's a lot, and so he might need, if anything, 2 weeks. And so, but I think it might need to be a little longer, and he might even need to rethink some of his procedures because they haven't done this before.
That's a good point. Because it's bigger than what they've ever had before.
Yeah, I like how you said that, because how do they know that this 7 days is going to work with this particular facility?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
uncharted territory.
Okay, so it says, if you guys think it should be lengthened, how much more time do you think it would take to get staff ready to handle 80% occupancy?
That's not even a study.
Did it say how long it took them to get to 80% occupancy?
You know
I
what?
think
That
it was like a few months.
A couple months.
Yeah, it did say it in there. It did say it. Did you say a few months? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think it was.
I don't think
Yeah, so it says,
giving
it
them
says
a
the
longer
first-
training period would get them to 80% occupancy that much quicker.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. I thought that it's 50% the first whatever, and then 80% after that. I don't remember exactly where it is.
yeah, so it's the first month is 50%, and then it takes them about 3 to 4 months to reach 80%.
Oh, okay. So even putting on another week, would that do it?
No.
Plus, you have to think of the expense. And he even said that sometimes they were doing their orientation in the midst of them finishing the building. That there were still things needed done in the building. I think it was a very high paced atmosphere. I think everything was like boom, 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 boom. You know, everything had a schedule, how to get going, how to do this, how to do that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they should extend it because they're so focused on quality that for them to, you know, like Katie was saying, expand on other things without expanding the training, then it's just kind of like they can't do it all. Are there other ways the staff could get experience without delaying the opening?
Does it say how soon they hire people before the training starts? That's what I'm trying to remember.
It was saying
About a
months.
month.
Yeah, months, I think, plural. Because they said
Okay. That would make sense.
yeah, they wouldn't hear from them. The employees wouldn't hear from the Ritz for months after they were hired.
So maybe they want to do. Oh, I'm kind of thinking of the book we've been reading, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, how they'll do offsites. I don't know if they want to break it up and maybe have like, okay, once a month until we have the full 7-day training, we'll meet together with your department. So just have it maybe segmented.
Yeah.
So maybe that could be something to kind of alleviate that a little bit, so that maybe they can still do the 7-day open. I forgot the name of it already. The 7-day opening, but that way have some people from prep, especially those departments which are new. All those new areas that they're opening, they could maybe do some, like once a month, have them meet up and kind of go over some basics or something. there twice a month.
Especially the leadership, training the
Yeah.
leadership to do that.
We're gonna need a lot of new managers.
Yeah. So how far in advance do you think they should do it? Because you're thinking money-wise too. It's additional money. So what did they give them? $700 million or something?
For the 7-day?
I don't know what that. I don't remember what the 700 million was.
Oh,
They spend on that.
at the end. It says it was $700 million investment made by the Millennium Partners in 6 Ritz Carlton managed properties. That was the amount of money that Millennium Partners has invested into their 6 Ritz Carlton managed
Okay.
I was like, well, that's a lot of money for one. But yeah, so it was distributed over 6 of them, basically.
Any other ideas?
Maybe that, I was trying to think of how soon they would start with that, with my theory. Maybe it could be, if it's a couple months out, maybe it can be like they start meeting like 3 months before. Say they've already hired everybody. It sounds like they really want to make sure they have that sorted out. They can meet once a month for 3 months, so just meet 3 times and then have the 7-day thing. If anything, it sounds like a lot of it is the pep rally is a really big deal. So anything, you could just be that. So they kind of, because if they're more unified, maybe the shorter training maybe won't be as much of a problem because they already know each other and be willing to work with each other. It's a theory.
You know what, I was just thinking of finances, because when you hire an employee, you have to have them make sure they go through their pre-employment physicals, have everything updated and ready. And then once you put them on the payroll, then that starts, so if you're doing these monthly meetings prior, how would you do that with a new employee and not giving them like full 40 hours a week? On the payroll.
They probably just pay them for the time that they call them in to do some training.
Makes sense to me. And if it sounds like they already weren't hearing from them for a long time after they were hired, it sounds like they go through the hiring process and then like, okay, just sit tight till we open. So it sounds like their maybe's already kind of.
Well, they do have the schedule in the exhibits that tells you the different contacts that they have with HR. It's Exhibit 9, pre-employment callback process. It tells you how many times that they get contacted by the employer before they start working, what the different things are that they're doing from the time that they sign their offer. So I mean, they are contacted in fourth contact. So they do, HR does reach out to them, but I'm not sure how, not being trained.
Yeah, I was also thinking of like, I don't even know if this is legal or not because they're technically working, but I was thinking since they have so much time from the time they get hired to the time that they actually start, like kind of sending them information about the company or like the expectations. So just so when they are in the orientation, it's just kind of like a refresher. So they're not spending as much time like going over things because it's something that they have already been exposed to, but that was just an idea. What principles, if any, from this lesson's reading apply to the case?
I haven't started this week's reading yet. It's only just Monday, but let me see if I can find my books.
And you know what? I haven't either, but I thought of that before we got together, that this is all on teams and working as a team. And within this hotel, that's what they would have to do, is work as a team, because they're responsible for, each one is responsible for service to the customers. So teamwork is vital, I think, in this aspect.
A big part of it too is respect. So they have respect for each other as employer, employee, and they want the employees to have that same respect for the customers.
Yeah, I also thought about how they had like similar goals, and they just all knew that service was just at the very top of everything, and how everyone, and no matter what their title or position was, they knew why they were there. Like they had a purpose, like the case study was saying. So I think that having that common goal in mind really helped them to work well as a team together and to have such success.
Right.
So
So
Katie, were you gonna say something?
Oh, yeah,
common
sorry.
goal-
Just something from the reading that I really liked. I think it was like day one, like the staff orientation. There's a comment they made. Our employees are on the front lines. They're always on the battlefield. So you've got to nurse them on a daily basis. You have to heal the wounds of being on the battlefield daily. Otherwise, they'll forget the real reasons they're there. And so they kind of gives the example, like after you clean 16 rooms, you're exhausted. So you have to remind them why they're doing this, or they'll just come back the next morning and thinking that they're just there to clean rooms, but really they're there to be, make sure that they're taking care of the customer, that they're doing all these things. But I liked how it said, like, otherwise they'll forget the real reasons they are there. So it's kind of like, Carla, what you were just saying, how they have to take care of them. They have to heal those wounds of being on the battlefield and make sure that they remember why they're there. And so, because I can imagine, even in such a nice place like the Ritz, maybe it's worse, actually, the Ritz, that it can't be, even there it can't be easy, like, to be working in a hotel, like either cleaning rooms or being the person that's to run up the room service, like the food and stuff. And so I'm sure there's plenty of snobby people there that will not be as nice. And so I just like, it proves like they have to have each other's back. They can't be like, I just figure it out or just get over it. They're there to kind of lift each other up, make sure they're all on the same page, so that everybody gets the same experience.
Yeah, I think because the standard is set so high, you have to constantly be reaching that or exceeding that expectation that the customer has when they come in, that they're going to be wowed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going along with what Katie was saying, I also like something from day one at the very end. There was like a quote, and it says, "I come to work for two reasons. One, to achieve excellence. The other, to achieve excellence with friends. I adopted this philosophy in my own life and have stayed with the Ritz Carlton because Mr. Schultz has not deviated from his vision." So I think that's really powerful that Mr. Schultz hasn't deviated from his vision, and because of that, all these other employees haven't either. And that's why they have such success with like employee retention, and why people seem to be very happy and treat everyone with respect, is just because of the leader of this whole thing having that and not changing it no matter what happens, and then having that kind of like ripple effect and affects other people within the company because they also have that vision and desire to excel and do it with the people around them.
And he had such a powerful presentation that he gave to the employees, because he started out from the bottom and worked his way up. And so he gives each of them a hope that, in a, well, not just a hope, but an opportunity to also do the same. Because isn't it after so many months they review it again and see how they can move forward in their position? So of course, so he's a powerful example to each of the employees. So that was a good point. Thank you, Carla. That was really good.
Okay, so it told me to research a little bit of how things turned out in the end. So I'm just going to read a paragraph or two. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, so it says the Ritz-Carlton Hotel Company partnered with Bulgari in 2001 to operate a chain of hotels owned by and operated under the BVLGARI brand. The company currently has marketing agreements with Bulgari Hotels and Resorts, the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas, the privately owned Ritz Carlton Montreal, and the Ritz Hotel London, and the Hotel Ritz Madrid. In 2011, the Ritz Carlton Hong Kong was opened. And Simon Cooper joined Ritz Carlton in 2001 as President and Chief Operating Officer, taking the helm from Horst Schultz. Cooper's mandate was to grow the chain through hotel expansion and product diversification. Under Cooper's watch, the company has aggressively expanded its hotels and added the Ritz-Carlton Residencies, private residential units, and the Ritz-Carlton Destination Club, fractional ownership residences to the company's development program. So, that's pretty much it. Does anyone have any other thoughts?
Just to make sure, I guess, it sounds like they kind of just went on and kept expanding their business, and when Horst Schultz eventually, I'm guessing, retired, that when he was replaced, it sounds like his successor kind of focused sort of in the direction that they're going with the Washington, D.C. hotel, just with more diversification than just opening up a bunch of hotels. So it sounds like they're pressing forward like always, kind of a thing.
Yep. That's pretty much it. Unless anyone has any other things to say, it just says to give a summary of the discussion. Does anyone want to volunteer and like kind of summarize our discussion today?
I can try and summarize some things that we talked about. So we all agreed that the Ritz-Carlton seems like it would be a fabulous place to work, that they have very high standards, that their 7-day countdown to opening a new business. While it might work for other hotels that they opened, we think that maybe there might be some changes that they might need to make in order to open the types of facilities like this one in Washington is, since it's got so many other things associated with it besides just a hotel, that they might want to add more training and a longer period of time. But overall, that they are doing a lot of things correct. That they treat their employees well, and their employees are expected to treat the people that come and stay with them as family and to get to know them by name.
Awesome. Well, that was pretty much it. Thank you everyone for your time and participation. Thank you for your comments, because you guys make this way easier. So I appreciate it.
For running it.
Of course.
Happy 4th of July to everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, you too. Thank you. I'll send this to you, Carla.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
Bye.